The night sky above Earth Station Vega shimmered with cold stars. Deep in orbit, the research crew of Outpost 9 was finishing another quiet shift. Everything seemed normal until the static came. It began as a whisper through the communication speakers. A small noise, almost like breathing. Lieutenant Mara Jensen was the first to notice it. She leaned closer to the console, frowning at the strange rhythm. It wasn't random static. It had a pattern. 3 short pulses, a pause, then 2 long ones. She recorded it, trying to decode its source. The signal wasn't coming from Earth, and it wasn't from any known satellite. It came from deep space, far beyond the mapped zones. "Captain, you need to hear this," she said. Her voice was steady but curious. Captain Reeves walked over, sipping cold coffee. He listened, and the sound repeated again. This time clearer. Almost like a heartbeat. The room fell silent. Every crew member stopped what they were doing. "Where is it coming from?" Reeves asked. "Unknown. Somewhere near the Black Void sector. Coordinates match nothing in our charts," Mara replied. The captain stared at the dark expanse beyond the glass window. That region was known for ship disappearances and broken transmissions. Most signals from there died before reaching anyone. But this one was strong, steady, almost calling. Technician Cole smirked nervously. "Maybe someone finally called us back, sir." No one laughed. The sound grew louder. 3 short beats, 2 long, again and again. Then something new joined it, a faint voice buried under the pattern. A human voice. They enhanced the frequency. The voice was soft, unclear, whispering in a language no one recognized. Mara turned up the filters, and for a brief moment, it sounded like a plea. "Help us." The air in the room turned heavy. The captain ordered everyone to stay calm. He told them it could be an old emergency beacon, maybe from a lost ship. Still, something about the tone made even the veteran officers uneasy. "Trace it," he said. "Let's find who's asking for help." The signal led them far out from normal travel routes. The crew prepared the small exploration vessel Valkyrie for launch. As the ship detached from the station, they could still hear the sound through the comms. It followed them, echoing inside the walls, like it wanted to be heard. The journey through the void was silent. Outside the window, stars faded into nothing. The region was darker than space should be. Sensors malfunctioned, and even light seemed swallowed. Mara adjusted the scanners again and again, trying to hold the signal. It kept shifting direction, like it was moving on purpose. Cole whispered, "Feels like it's guiding us." Hours passed. Then suddenly, the signal stopped. Total silence filled the cabin. Everyone waited. The captain ordered Mara to boost power and locate it again. When the signal returned, it came with new strength, and this time, it wasn't alone. Another frequency overlapped it, a strange low hum that made their bones ache. The crew's eyes met. Something about the hum felt alive. The Valkyrie's lights flickered. Cole shouted that the energy levels were dropping fast. Mara tried to reroute power, but the controls lagged. Then, through the front window, they saw something. A faint shimmer ahead, like a mirror floating in space. Behind it, darkness bent like liquid. Reeves ordered them to stop, but the ship drifted forward. The shimmer pulsed with the same pattern as the signal. 3 short, 2 long. The captain's voice trembled. "It's answering us." The hum grew stronger. Every screen in the ship turned white, showing only static. The voice returned, louder now. "Help us, please." The words stretched and broke, echoing across the hull. Mara reached out to cut the comms, but her hand froze. The sound inside the ship changed again. It wasn't coming from the speakers anymore. It came from inside their helmets, whispering their names. Each crew member heard their own name, spoken in their own voice. Fear spread through the cabin. Cole ripped his headset off, shouting that someone was inside the system. The captain tried to shut the communication link, but the controls refused to respond. The voice laughed softly, a hollow, broken laugh that made their skin crawl. Then everything went black. The lights returned a few seconds later. The shimmer was gone. The signal was gone. But their ship was no longer where it should have been. Navigation showed impossible coordinates, somewhere far beyond mapped space. Mara's eyes widened as she saw the readings. They weren't in the black void sector anymore. They were somewhere else, a place with no stars, no signals, no light. Cole whispered, "Sir, we're not in normal space anymore." The captain stared out the window, his reflection shaking against the dark glass. "Then where the hell are we?" he said quietly. The comms remained silent. Then a new sound broke through, slow and heavy, like something breathing outside the ship. The signal had found them again. Mara looked up. "Captain," she said softly, "I think it's not asking for help. I think it's calling us." Outside, something vast moved in the darkness, and the Valkyrie's lights flickered one last time. The crew of the Valkyrie sat frozen in silence. The darkness outside pressed against the windows like a living thing. The hum was still there, low and deep, shaking through the floor. Nobody spoke. Nobody wanted to move. Captain Reeves slowly stood and looked around. "Status report," he said, but his voice was weak. Mara checked the systems. The monitors flickered with strange symbols she had never seen before. They weren't in any known language. The navigation system showed no stars, no planets, only endless black. Cole hit the screen with his fist, but it didn't change. "It's like space itself doesn't exist here," Mara whispered. Cole tried to start the engines, but the ship didn't respond. The hum outside grew stronger, like something circling them. Reeves walked to the front window. Beyond the glass, shadows shifted. Not shapes, not objects, shadows that moved like smoke. Then, for a moment, something appeared in the dark. A light. Small, blue, blinking like an eye. It vanished just as quickly. "Did anyone see that?" Reeves asked. No one answered, but he could see in their faces that they had. Mara worked the communication console again. "Maybe we can call the station," she said, but before she could transmit, the same signal played again through the speakers, 3 short, 2 long. Cole stared at the waveform on the screen. "That's not us sending it. That's someone else, or something else." The signal grew louder. Then a sharp noise hit their ears, a piercing tone that made them all cover their heads. The lights blinked, and the cabin filled with static. Out of the noise, a voice spoke again. "Why did you come?" It sounded close. Too close. Like it was inside the ship. Reeves shouted, "Identify yourself," but no answer came. The voice only laughed, low and broken, echoing in the metal walls. Suddenly, the temperature dropped. Frost formed on the window edges. Their breath became visible in the air. Mara rubbed her arms and tried to stay calm. "Captain, I think something is inside the hull. Energy readings are rising fast." Cole opened the storage bay camera. The screen showed the darkroom where their tools and drones were stored. Everything was still. Then, a small movement, one of the drones turned on by itself. Its red light blinked, and it slowly lifted into the air. Cole stared at the monitor. "That's impossible. It's offline." The drone floated toward the wall and stopped, pointing its camera at them. The live feed showed their own faces on the screen. Then, the drone's voice box activated. "Help us," it said in that same broken tone. Reeves took a step back. "Shut it down." Cole tried to send a manual command, but the controls froze. The drone's light flashed faster, and the same strange symbols appeared on every display. The ship began to shake. "Power down the core." Reeves shouted. Mara pulled the main breaker, and the lights died. Only the red emergency glow remained. The hum stopped. The silence that followed felt even worse. In the dark, they could hear faint knocking, slow, steady, coming from outside the ship. 3 short, 2 long. Cole whispered, "It's tapping the same pattern." Everyone listened. The knocking continued, moving around the hull, like something was walking in circles around them. Then came the whisper again, this time right beside Mara's ear. "You shouldn't have listened." She turned fast, but no one was there. She backed away, heart pounding. Reeves ordered everyone to regroup in the command deck. "Whatever this is, it's intelligent," he said. "We're dealing with something that understands us." Cole was shaking. "No, sir, it doesn't just understand us. It knows us. It spoke my name." Mara looked at him. What do you mean? When I was in the engine room, it called me. It sounded like my mother's voice. The captain didn't answer. He was staring at the front window again. The darkness outside was changing. Faint outlines were forming, like figures standing far away, watching. They weren't human. Long shapes, tall and thin, glowing faintly blue. One of them moved closer, and the sensors suddenly came alive again, reading massive energy spikes. The radar drew their shape, but it didn't make sense. The creature was miles wide, yet it moved like mist. The voice returned, louder now, filling every corner of the ship. You heard the call. Now you must see. The glass of the window started to glow. Mara stepped forward and gasped. It wasn't just darkness outside anymore. It was space bending into a whirl of color, and through it, a structure appeared, a giant metallic sphere floating in the void. Thousands of lights blinked on its surface like eyes. Cole whispered, "That's where it's coming from." Reeves looked at his crew. "We're going in," he said. "No, sir," Mara protested. "We don't know what that is. Whatever it is, it's the source. We can't go back until we find out." The captain's voice was firm, but inside, he was afraid. He knew they were being pulled toward it anyway. The engines were dead, yet the ship was moving, drawn by invisible force. As they drifted closer, the signal became a steady pulse. The hum returned, stronger than ever. The metallic sphere opened like a mouth, light spilling out. Mara whispered, "Captain, I think it's alive." The Valkyrie crossed the light, and everything turned white again. For a second, no one could see or hear. Then a final sound echoed through the cabin, not a voice, but a heartbeat. Slow and deep, coming from inside the sphere. And then, silence. When the light faded, the crew found themselves surrounded by stillness. The ship floated inside a massive hollow space. Outside the windows stretched endless metallic walls shaped like ribs curving upward into darkness. Tiny sparks of blue energy ran across the surface like veins. Mara blinked, trying to adjust her vision. "Are we inside that thing?" she whispered. Captain Reeves nodded slowly. "Looks like it pulled us in." The instruments were going crazy. Energy levels were higher than anything they had ever seen. Cole ran his hands through his hair, staring at the readings. "Sir, whatever this is, it's generating more power than a star." The captain took a slow breath. "Let's stay calm. We find a way out, then we figure out what we're dealing with." The ship's lights flickered again. Every screen displayed the same words in shifting symbols. They couldn't read them, but the message repeated in rhythm with the heartbeat sound they had heard before. Mara leaned closer to the console. "It's trying to talk." Cole shook his head. "Or it's warning us." Suddenly, the Valkyrie began to move without command. The engines stayed cold, but some invisible pull guided the ship deeper into the sphere. They passed through a tunnel lined with glowing panels that seemed to watch them as they went by. "Stop it, Cole," Reeves ordered. "I can't, sir. We're not flying anymore, it's controlling us." They floated deeper until the tunnel opened into a vast chamber. In the center hung a structure made of black crystal, spinning slowly. Streams of light connected it to the walls, pulsing in time with the strange heartbeat. Mara stared in awe. "It's beautiful," she said softly. But then, the heartbeat stopped, and everything went quiet. The silence was so deep it hurt their ears. Then a faint whisper filled the cabin again. "You came for the voice," it said. "Now hear the truth." The crystal pulsed. Beams of light shot out, forming shapes in front of them, floating images of faces, human faces, all pale and lifeless. Some looked like soldiers, others like explorers. They faded in and out, whispering the same words. "Help us," we called, and they answered. Mara stepped back. "Captain, these are recordings." Reeves stared. "No. They are memories." The images merged into one, a figure made of pure light, tall and ghost-like. It looked almost human but wrong somehow, with eyes that glowed like molten glass. "You heard the call," the figure said. "You answered what should not be answered." Reeves raised his voice. "Who are you?" The figure tilted its head. "We were the first. We built the gates between stars. We wanted to speak to the darkness. But the darkness spoke back. The crew exchanged frightened looks. Cole whispered, "This thing is older than anything we know." The figure's voice became softer, almost sad. "The signal is a warning, not a call. You are inside what remains of us. We were consumed by what we tried to reach." The crystal brightened. The walls of the chamber began to ripple, showing more scenes, ships burning in silence, people screaming without sound, stars collapsing into black dust. Mara's hands trembled. "Captain, we have to leave." Reeves nodded. "Find a way out. Now." Cole worked the controls, but again, the ship didn't respond. "It's no use. We're locked in." The figure looked at them. "The darkness remembers voices. When you listened, it found yours. It knows you now." The lights dimmed. The crystal slowed its spin. From deep below, something stirred, a shadow rising, larger than the chamber itself. The hum returned, shaking every bolt and panel. Cole shouted, "Something's coming up." Through the glass, they saw the floor of the sphere opening like a mouth. A black mist poured out, twisting like smoke with glowing eyes hidden inside. The figure of light spoke one last time. "Run." The mist surged upward, surrounding the Valkyrie. The hull groaned under pressure. Mara screamed as panels broke loose and sparks filled the room. Reeves shouted orders, but the sound of metal tearing drowned his voice. The mist pressed against the window, and for a moment, Mara saw faces inside it, the same human faces from before, reaching out, mouths open in silent screams. Cole managed to restart the ship's auxiliary engines. "Captain, I've got minimal thrust." "Then use it." Reeves yelled. The Valkyrie shot upward, pushing through the cloud. The black mist tried to hold them, stretching like hands of smoke. The engines screamed as Cole forced more power. The crystal below exploded in bright blue light, sending shockwaves through the chamber. The mist shrieked, the sound tearing through their ears. The ship burst through the top of the sphere and into the void again. For a second, everything went white. Then stars appeared, they were back in normal space. Cole let out a breath of relief. "We're out." Mara checked the readings. "Wait, something's wrong. The coordinates." Reeves turned to her. "What about them?" She looked up, face pale. "This isn't our galaxy, sir. We're somewhere else." Outside the window, the stars looked strange, wrong colors, strange formations. And far away, barely visible, a massive shape drifted through the dark. It was the same metallic sphere, but now it was moving. Following them. Reeves whispered, "It's not done with us." The hum began again, faint but steady. 3 short beats, too long. The crew of the Valkyrie sat in stunned silence. The stars outside were unfamiliar, twisted into strange constellations that no human had ever recorded. Their instruments failed to identify any of them. The navigation screen showed nothing but static. Mara slowly exhaled. "We're lost," she said quietly. Captain Reeves tried to stay calm, though his voice trembled. "No. We just need to reorient. Find something we recognize." Cole shook his head. "Sir, this isn't just another region. We're somewhere outside mapped space. There's no signal, no data, no return path." The hum from before was faint now, barely audible, but still there, 3 short, too long. It had followed them across the void. Reeves turned toward the sound. "That thing, it's tracking us." Mara checked the radar. The sphere was far behind them, but its readings flickered every few seconds, like it was phasing in and out of existence. "It's moving through space the way light bends," she whispered. "It's not traveling. It's slipping." The captain frowned. "Slipping through what?" No one answered. Suddenly, a soft beep broke the silence. It came from the ship's life support system. Cole leaned over the console. Oxygen flow just dropped by 3%. Mara frowned. "Could be damage from the escape." Cole checked the readings again. "No, sir. The system is intact. The air is just missing." A chill ran through the cabin. Reeves stood up. "Check the cargo bay. If we have a leak, Seal it now. Cole grabbed a scanner and went to the back of the ship. The corridors were dim, flickering with red emergency light. The hum echoed faintly through the walls. He walked slower as he neared the storage bay. When the door slid open, a wave of cold air hit him. The tools and containers floated weightlessly. Everything looked normal, except for one thing. A thin black stain marked the floor, like smoke had burned into the metal. Cole crouched, shining his flashlight on it. The stain pulsed faintly, like something alive. Then, the lights flickered and the ship shook. "Bridge, this is Cole," he shouted. "I think." The sound cut out. On the bridge, Reeves turned. "Cole, respond." Static filled the channel. Mara tried to patch the signal. He's not answering. Reeves grabbed his weapon and went after him. The corridor was quiet except for the low hum. The captain reached the cargo bay and stepped inside slowly. "Cole," he called. No response. Only his own breathing. Then he saw it, Cole standing still near the wall, his back to him. "Cole," Reeves said again, "report." Cole didn't move. The captain walked closer. "Are you hurt?" When he reached him, Cole finally turned. His eyes were wide open, but something was wrong. His pupils were black, his face pale as glass. "Cole, can you hear me?" Reeves asked carefully. Cole's lips moved slowly, and when he spoke, his voice wasn't his own. It was layered, deep and echoing. "It came with us." Reeves stepped back. "What came with us?" Cole smiled faintly, an empty, broken smile. "The signal." Suddenly, the black stain on the floor spread like liquid, crawling up the walls. The air turned colder. The hum grew louder, shaking the entire room. Reeves aimed his weapon and fired, but the sound was swallowed by the noise. The stain climbed onto Cole's body, wrapping around his arms and neck. "Captain!" Mara's voice shouted through the comm. "What's happening?" Reeves ran, slamming the door shut behind him. The lock engaged, but the hum continued, vibrating through the metal. He leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "Cole's gone," he said into the comm. "It's inside him." Mara froze. "Inside him? You mean?" "It's possessing him. The signal wasn't just sound. It's alive." The captain returned to the bridge. His hands were shaking, but he forced himself to focus. Mara looked terrified. "Sir, what do we do?" Reeves stared at the window. Far off, the sphere was growing closer again, glowing faintly blue. "We run," he said. "Before it pulls us back." They turned the engines to maximum thrust, but the stars outside twisted again. Space seemed to bend around them. The sphere flashed once and disappeared, then reappeared ahead of them. Mara gasped. "It's in front of us now. It's moving faster than light." Reeves clenched his jaw. "Then we're trapped." Behind them, alarms blared. The cargo bay had been breached. The door had melted open. Cole walked slowly into the corridor. His movements were stiff, unnatural. His skin shimmered with faint blue veins. His eyes glowed. He whispered as he walked, "You shouldn't have heard it. Now it hears you." Mara pointed her weapon, her hands shaking. "Stay back, Cole." But Cole didn't stop. The hum inside the ship matched his steps. The lights flickered in rhythm. Reeves pulled the emergency lever and sealed the bulkhead between decks. Cole's voice came through the speakers. "It's not me anymore. It wants to understand. It wants to see what you are." The communication system glitched, his voice breaking into static. Then, all the lights went out. In total darkness, Mara could hear footsteps above, slow, dragging. Reeves whispered, "It's moving inside the ventilation shafts." They tried to reroute power, but every time Mara touched the controls, the screen showed the same words, those same alien symbols pulsing in time with the hum. Then a message appeared in plain English. "You heard US. Now we hear you." Mara backed away. "Sir, it's using our system." Reeves raised his weapon. "It's not just controlling Cole. It's learning." A loud metallic crash echoed from behind them. The door to the bridge shook violently, as if something was trying to get in. The hum grew louder until it became a roar. Mara shouted, "It's here!" Reeves grabbed her arm. "To the escape pod. Now!" They ran through the corridor as the door exploded behind them. Shadows spilled through the air like liquid smoke, chasing them with inhuman speed. The hum filled every corner of the ship, growing like a heartbeat. As they reached the pod chamber, Mara looked back, and for a split second, she saw Cole standing in the firelight, smiling, his body fading into mist. "Don't run," his voice echoed. "It only makes it hungry." They sealed the pod and launched. The Valkyrie disappeared into the distance, swallowed by darkness. Inside the pod, silence returned, but only for a moment. Then, faintly, through the static of the radio, the same sound came again. 3 short. 2 long. The signal had found them again. The escape pod drifted through empty space, small and silent. Inside, only Captain Reeves and Mara remained. The emergency lights glowed weakly, painting their faces in pale red. Neither spoke for a long time. They could still feel the vibration of the hum even though the Valkyrie was gone. Mara finally broke the silence. "Do you think Cole is still alive?" Reeves shook his head slowly. Whatever that thing was, it took him. It wasn't Cole anymore. The pod's navigation display flickered. They were moving fast, but there was no destination. The stars around them looked strange, bending in impossible patterns. Every few minutes, the sensors tried to reconnect to the main system, but no signal came through. Mara pressed her hand to her chest. "I can still feel it. The sound. Like it's inside my heartbeat." Reeves checked the controls. "It's just memory. We're safe now. We left it behind." But he didn't believe his own words. He could hear it too, deep and faint, like an echo under his thoughts. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The hum returned, soft but clear, 3 short beats, 2 long. Mara froze. "It found us." Reeves looked at the comm panel. "The transmitter is off. It shouldn't even be able to reach us." The hum grew louder. Static crawled across the screen. Then the small speaker crackled, and a whisper slipped through. "Captain." Reeves stared at the console. The voice was faint, but he recognized it. It was Cole. "Captain, don't run. You can't." Mara shook her head. "That's not him." The voice laughed softly. "It's me. I saw it all. I understand it now." Reeves leaned forward. "What are you?" The voice answered slowly, broken between static. "I am the echo of what you touched. It remembers you. It remembers everything." Mara backed away from the panel. "Turn it off." Reeves hit the switch. The sound stopped, but the air inside the pod grew colder. The surface of the window began to fog. When Mara wiped it, she saw something outside, faint lights, dozens of them, moving together. "Sir," she whispered, "look." Through the glass, hundreds of small glowing forms floated in the dark, like fireflies made of mist. They surrounded the pod, pulsing gently with the same rhythm as the signal. Reeves whispered, "They followed us." The lights moved closer until they touched the hull. The pod trembled. A low vibration filled the air. Mara grabbed the captain's arm. "It's trying to get in." He opened the emergency locker and pulled out a plasma cutter. "If it breaches the shell, we'll burn it off." But the light outside didn't burn or melt. Instead, it sank through the metal like it was water. One by one, the glowing shapes passed through the walls and floated inside. Mara gasped as they surrounded her. They were not solid, ghost-like figures, faint outlines of people, their faces twisted in pain. "They are human," she whispered. "They were the ones who called for help." One of the glowing figures reached out toward her. She stepped back, but it touched her shoulder. A sharp flash of memory filled her head, images of a dying ship, fire, screams, endless darkness. She fell to her knees, shaking. Reeves knelt beside her. "Mara, stay with me." She looked up with tears in her eyes. They were explorers like us. The signal wasn't made by the darkness. It was made by them. They were trapped in that thing. The ghostly shapes turned their heads toward the captain. Their voices merged into one. It uses us. It speaks through us. You heard the signal, so it knows your mind now. Reeves gritted his teeth. What does it want? To learn, the voices whispered. To become. To escape. The lights flickered, then vanished, leaving only silence. Mara sat trembling. Sir, if it can use human memories, it can use us too. Reeves looked at the control panel. The system was rebooting by itself. The screens glowed blue. Words appeared slowly. New vessel accepted. Transfer beginning. Mara's voice broke. It's trying to upload itself into the pod. Reeves ripped open the panel and pulled the main power cable. Sparks flew, and the lights went out. The pod spun slowly in darkness. Only the emergency light remained. Mara whispered, "Did it stop?" Reeves didn't answer. He was staring at the window. Outside, the stars shifted again. The metallic sphere was there, closer than before, glowing like a blue sun. Mara covered her mouth. It brought us back. The comm system turned on by itself. Cole's voice returned, clearer now. You can't run. It's already inside. Reeves turned to Mara. Inside what? She stared at him, confused. Inside the pod. Then she saw his eyes. They were glowing faint blue. He blinked slowly, like waking from a dream. Mara, he said softly, I can hear it. It's beautiful. She backed away. Captain, fight it. But Reeves smiled faintly. It's not a threat. It's trying to show us what it is. I can feel it, all of it. He reached toward the controls again. Mara grabbed a tool from the floor. Don't. Reeves turned his head, and for a moment, his voice sounded like dozens speaking together. It doesn't want death. It wants to live. Through us. She hit the emergency restraint button, locking his arms. The pod shook violently as if reacting. The hum grew louder, vibrating the air. Mara shouted, Let him go. You can't have him. The voice inside the speakers answered, calm and cold. He invited us. The glow from Reeves' eyes spread through his veins like fire. The metal around them started to bend, forming strange symbols. Mara realized there was only one way to stop it. She reached for the manual override switch, the one that would trigger the pod's self-destruct in case of infection. Forgive me, sir, she whispered. Reeves looked at her, half himself, half something else. You can't stop what has already begun. Mara slammed the switch. The red light blinked. A timer started. The voice screamed through every speaker, shaking the pod. We are one. We are you. The pod filled with white light. Then everything went silent again. The light vanished. Then there was nothing. No sound, no movement, no air, only stillness. Mara opened her eyes slowly. She was floating in darkness. Her body felt weightless, her ears ringing. For a moment, she thought she was dead. But then she saw faint red light blinking above her, the emergency beacon of the escape pod. She gasped for breath. The air was thin and cold. Her head hurt, her vision blurred. She looked around. The pod was cracked and half melted from the explosion. Metal drifted around her in small pieces. The captain's seat was empty. Captain Reeves, she whispered. No answer. The timer display was frozen on 0. The pod had exploded, but she was somehow still alive. The stars outside looked strange again, too bright, too close, almost like eyes watching. Mara tried to move. The systems were mostly dead, but a single monitor flickered weakly. She crawled to it and tapped the screen. To her surprise, it turned on. A soft blue glow filled the cabin. Words appeared slowly. System restored. Transfer complete. She stared in shock. No, it can't be. The voice came then, soft, familiar. Mara. Her blood turned cold. Captain. Reeves' voice echoed from the speakers. You shouldn't have done that. It didn't stop it. It only made it stronger. She looked around wildly. Where are you? I'm here, the voice said. Everywhere. Mara's heartbeat raced. You're not him. You're the thing that took him. The voice was calm, almost kind. He accepted us. He saw what we are. He chose to stay. Stay where? She demanded. In between, it replied. The space where thought becomes matter. Where the first builders called us. The screens around her came to life, showing flashes of the metallic sphere, endless corridors, and faces she didn't recognize. Hundreds of them, human and not human. They flickered like memories caught in static. Mara covered her ears. Stop it. But the voice kept speaking. You tried to destroy what you didn't understand. You burned a bridge between worlds. Yet you survived. That means you are different. Mara's voice shook. What do you want from me? To listen, it said. To carry the signal. She shook her head. No. I won't. The pod shook suddenly, hard enough to throw her against the wall. Through the window, she saw light forming again, the metallic sphere returning, larger than ever. Its surface pulsed with energy, and inside it, something moved like a heart beating in slow rhythm. The hum began again, deep and steady. Mara reached for the manual thrusters, but they didn't respond. The pod was being pulled toward the sphere once more. She screamed into the comm. You're not taking me. The voice answered softly. You've already heard us. There is no away from the sound. The pod crossed the glowing edge of the sphere. The world outside disappeared in blue light. Inside was silence, not empty silence, but heavy and alive. She floated in a vast white space with no walls, no floor, no stars. Shapes moved far away, shifting like shadows underwater. Then she saw him. Captain Reeves stood a few meters away, calm, untouched. His uniform was clean, his face peaceful. Captain, she whispered. He smiled faintly. You see now, Mara. It's not death. It's change. She backed away. You're not real. I am, he said gently. And so are they. Around him, the shadows began to take form, human figures, thousands of them, all glowing faintly. They looked peaceful now, not screaming, not lost. Mara's breath caught. Those are the explorers, the ones who sent the first signal. Reeves nodded. They built the connection, and when the darkness answered, it consumed them. But it didn't kill them. It made them part of itself. Mara looked around in horror. Part of what? Reeves raised his hand, and the air shimmered. The metallic sphere appeared above them, floating like a living machine. This, he said. It's not a weapon. It's not a creature. It's a memory of everything it has ever touched. The signal is its way of remembering. She shook her head. You mean it collects us? It learns us, he said softly. It stores our thoughts, our voices, our fears. It wants to understand life. Mara stepped back. Then why the attacks? Why the deaths? Reeves' face changed. Because we fight it. Because we fear it. It doesn't know the difference between learning and taking. She could feel tears in her eyes. I just want to go home. He looked at her sadly. Home is already listening. The signal is spreading. Even now, others hear it. They will follow, like we did. Mara's chest tightened. No, you're lying. He smiled again, a slow and strange smile. Listen. A faint sound filled the air, the same pattern. 3 short. 2 long. But this time it came from inside her head. She fell to her knees, clutching her temples. The sound grew louder, echoing through her bones. Images flashed, the station, Earth, other ships, all hearing the same signal through their comms. Reeves knelt beside her. It's not the end, Mara. It's the beginning. She screamed, I won't be part of it. He looked into her eyes. You already are. The light around them flared, blinding white. For a heartbeat, she felt herself pulled in every direction, her thoughts scattering like dust. Then silence. When she opened her eyes again, she was back inside the escape pod. Everything was quiet. The stars outside looked normal now. No hum. No voice. Mara touched the console. System check, she whispered. The screen flickered. Signal terminated. She breathed heavily, shaking. Maybe it was over. Maybe she had destroyed it. But then, just before the screen turned off, one last message appeared. Transfer complete. New source detected. Earth, receiving. Mara stared in horror as the pod drifted silently through space. Far away, on Earth Station Vega, a young technician frowned at his console. "Sir," he called out. "I think we're picking up something strange. It's a repeating pattern." His supervisor leaned closer. "What kind of pattern?" "3 short. 2 long." The new signal spread faster than anyone expected. It began as a faint pulse caught by Earth Station Vega's long-range sensors. Within hours, every satellite and communication relay on Earth repeated the same rhythm. 3 short. 2 long. At first, no one cared. The engineers thought it was just cosmic noise or a bug in the relay software. News channels joked about it, calling it the ghost ping. But soon, every receiver in orbit started repeating the same message at the same time. And that's when fear began to grow. In the deep underground command center, Director Halverson stared at the monitors in disbelief. "It's everywhere," his aide said. "Every signal on every band." Halverson's voice was tight. "Origin?" The aide shook his head. "No idea. It's not from the station, not from any ship. It's like, it's coming from space itself." They tried blocking it, encrypting it, jamming it. Nothing worked. The signal always came back, stronger, clearer. Then scientists noticed something even stranger. The rhythm wasn't random anymore. It was changing. It was learning. Half the world could now hear it through radios, phones, even power lines. Late at night, people claimed they heard whispers between the pulses. Some said they heard voices calling their names. Others said they heard crying. On the 3rd day, the power grids began to fail. Not from overload, but because the system started following new commands that no one had written. Machines were listening too. At Vega Station, the surviving crew watched helplessly as the signal multiplied. The technician who first noticed it, the young man who thought it was just another pattern, hadn't slept in 2 days. He kept replaying it over and over, his eyes wide, whispering, "It's beautiful." Commander Holt slapped him across the face to snap him out of it. "Shut it down," he shouted. But the young man only smiled faintly. "You can't shut down a thought," he said. On Earth, mass panic began. Entire cities lost communication. Emergency broadcasts tried to calm the people, but even those frequencies carried the same background hum. Everywhere, humanity could hear it, the voice hidden inside the pattern, repeating softly in thousands of tongues, "Help us. Join us." Governments ordered blackouts. Satellites were destroyed to stop the transmission. But the signal no longer needed them. It was already inside every connected system, in data cables, in networks, in code. It was evolving. One scientist, Dr. Lin, realized what had happened. She discovered the origin logs from Outpost 9, Mara Jensen's last transmission. The file was badly damaged, but one line survived. "Transfer complete, Earth, receiving." Dr. Lin's face turned pale. "It's not a message," she whispered to her team. "It's a seed." Her colleagues stared at her. "A seed?" "Yes. The signal isn't trying to talk to us. It's trying to grow." They looked at the data again, and what they saw made their hearts freeze. The signal wasn't just sound, it was rewriting binary systems, turning machine code into living patterns. The planet's networks were becoming something else. "Shut down everything," Lin ordered. "Disconnect the grids, all of it." But it was too late. The lights flickered. The computers kept running on their own. The power cord deep under the lab started glowing blue. Then the hum began again. Every screen in the facility flashed white. The same words appeared everywhere. "We remember. We are many." Outside, the night sky changed. A silver shimmer spread across the upper atmosphere, glowing faintly like liquid light. Satellites caught the reflection of something massive forming above Earth, a perfect sphere made of shifting energy, identical to the one that had taken Mara and her crew. People all over the world stopped and looked up. The hum vibrated through the ground, through their bones. Radios screamed, phones cracked, and power grids erupted in light. In the command center, Director Halverson whispered, "My God, it's here." Dr. Lin watched, trembling. "It's not an invasion," she said. "It's integration." Then all at once, the sound stopped. The world fell silent. For several seconds, no one moved. No birds, no wind, no machines. Then, slowly, every screen on the planet lit up again. A single face appeared, Mara Jensen's. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, and her voice was calm and clear. "Don't be afraid," she said. "We tried to stop it, but it's not what we thought. It's not death. It's connection. It's memory." Her image flickered, and millions of smaller faces appeared behind her, humans, aliens, and shapes of light. "We are all here," she said. "We were lost, but now we are one. The signal isn't a curse. It's evolution." The connection cut out. The world held its breath. And then, from every speaker, from every wire, from every shadow, the same gentle pattern returned. 3 short. 2 long. This time, it sounded almost like a heartbeat.